Hey guys, so it's an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Lucian updated complete guide for patch 3.4b onwards. Alright, so now Lucian, in my opinion, is one of the top 3 ADCs currently. In fact, in my opinion, he is the best ADC at the moment. That's just my personal opinion. It might be a little bit biased because Lucian and Jhin are my two favorite ADCs. Now Jhin, we know, isn't in the best spot in the meta at the moment. Jhin video coming up, by the way, but Lucian is in one of the best spots in the meta at the current moment. He is really strong in the early game with the Kraken Slayer, of course, synergizing really well with his passive, and with the Stormrazor power spike early, and now with this new build, he gets a pretty strong late game as well. So we'll of course get into the build really soon. But first, of course, this being an updated complete guide, if you guys want to see his skills and leveling order, refer to the original complete guide, which I will link up in the cards above, of course, in the interest of time. So let's jump straight into the build. Okay, so now this is the new build for Lucian. Now, I don't know if this is what you guys are expecting, but there is a very popular build at the moment involving going for the IE first and basically going into this build. So this is the popular Lucian build. Now, personally, I don't like it, basically. So this is the build that I go for, and I'll explain why, and I'll explain how, etc. like really soon. So the reason why I don't like going for IE as a first item is, firstly, it's really expensive as a first item. I talked about that a little bit in the Xayah video, but firstly, it's really expensive. Secondly, you don't get a lot of value for what you're buying. You get AD, you get crit rate, you get increased crit damage, but you don't have enough crit chance to make good use of the enhanced crit damage. The issue is this needs to be a second or third item, this needs to be like a third item, this needs to be like a third item, so you really have to give up something to go for that kind of build, which I talked about in the Xayah video as well. Pretty much is the same points from that video. So Lucian, on the other hand, has a really strong early game, and going for IE pretty much means that you get a lot of a weaker early game. Now, if you are like already very fed in the lane, like for example, if you get two kills in the lane, 3 kills in the lane, you can maybe afford to go for IE because you don't really need as strong of an early game because you're already snowballing. But especially if you're not getting kills in lane, you want to go for the Stormrazor first. So you go for the Stormrazor, you get the attack damage, you get the crit rate, the attack speed doesn't really matter all that much. A little bit helpful, but not all that important. But the energized attack is the bonus damage you get with the energized attack, and the slow that you get from the energized passive is actually really huge. I only really noticed how good this actually is when I started going for IE first item instead of going for Stormrazor. And really, yeah, Stormrazor is really a lot better, just in my opinion. So you go for Stormrazor, then you go for Navori Quick Blades. As we know, it just recently got the buff on the passive, and it also has gotten a couple of buffs in the past to its AD and its ability haste. So you get more AD, more crit, more ability haste, and of course whenever you crit, you will reduce the cooldown of your abilities. Yeah, lovely. So for the boots, I like to go for defensive boots, either Merc Treads or Steel Caps, and generally I will go for Stasis. And for the third item, which is where you hit your power spike, the so-called late game power spike, is going to be the Slurry Charge Blade. You do get the crit rate and the ability haste. Of course, again, attack speed helpful, but not the most important. But the important part is the Sunburst passive. Whenever you use a skill, you get a stack, and the stack gives you bonus magic damage on hit, which can crit. And when you hit 3 items, you will get 75% crit, which will of course trigger the crit on the Slurry Charge Blade, as well as the cooldown reduction on the Navori Quick Blades, which is why 3 items is a really strong spike, which is also why you go for Serralda's Grudge only as a 4th item and not a 3rd item. Serralda's Grudge of course gives you the armor penetration, attack damage, ability haste, as well as the slow, which synergizes really well with your ultimate. And to top it off, of course we gotta go for the IE. This will give you 55 AD, another 25% crit, which puts you at 100%, and increased crit damage. Now, of course, your other last item option is going to be the Bloodthirster, which is still really good. But if you somehow reach late enough into the game that you have this entire build already, and you still have more gold, that's where you want to sell the Stormrazor, and then you get the Bloodthirster. So your final build will look something like this, if you get to a point where you can actually sell Stormrazor to get Bloodthirster. That's because Stormrazor is mainly there for the early game power spike, and in the late game it doesn't really do all that much anymore, at least not compared to the Bloodthirster. Alrighty, so that was a mouthful, a long explanation. Now we're going to explain the runes and the spells. So for the runes, Kraken Slayer is going to be your very obvious option. It synergizes really well with your passive, the double auto attack on the Light Slinger. So you can proc Kraken Slayer really often with this one. On a full combo, you proc Kraken Slayer twice. That's like E auto for double auto attack, like W auto for double auto attack, which procs Kraken once, and then like you Q auto double attack, which procs Kraken Slayer again. So you can get a lot of easy procs of Kraken Slayer. And of course, for domination, we go for Hunter Vampirism for the lifesteal. I like to go for Nullifying Orb because Lucian is really aggressive in the laning phase, and getting like shield in laning especially is going to be really important. And finally, I like to go for Nimbus Cloak, because you don't actually need Hunter Genius anymore since you have Navori Quick Blades, and if you got nothing else really better to take here, Nimbus Cloak is always going to be helpful, getting extra movement speed when you cast your summoner spells. So for the summoner spells, you do take Exhaust as usual and Flash as usual, don't need to explain too much there anymore. And yeah, with all that out of the way, we can move straight on over to the gameplay. Alright, so now moving on to the gameplay. Now as usual guys, of course for the updated complete guides, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will be sure to address them, or like it, or heart it, you know, all that jazz. So anyways, here we have the Lucian gameplay. So in this matchup, I'm against a Samira and a Thresh. So me and Samira have really similar ranges, whereas Thresh is sort of more like a catcher style, whereas Soraka is more of a sustain kind of style. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. So Samira, as we all know, just got nerfed. So this Samira isn't really good, by the way. So here I got my Q double auto and then another auto. So basically I got like a full level 1 combo off, which is where I can hit my Q, deal the Q damage, I get my passive proc onto Samira, and then I get an extra auto to proc Kraken Slayer. So Samira definitely took way more damage than me. I took quite a beating there as well, but she definitely took more damage than me. So now here we hit level 2. Again, I get the prop on Samira. I dash forward, again auto. She exhausts me, but I auto again for the kill. Now honestly, this kill should never have happened. The Samira is just playing really badly. She literally got hit by every single passive that I have. Here Thresh tries to go in because Katarina is here. I exhaust the Katarina and actually dash back in panic. But actually if I had a little bit of a cooler hit, I would have dashed towards the Thresh and killed him instead, because he pretty much used everything already and he pretty much wouldn't be able to get out. So anyways, kind of missed out on the kill on the Thresh there, but the point I was kind of making there is that Samira pretty much ate every single point of damage I could possibly offer. So it was a pretty free kill in my opinion, and I'm definitely not going to complain about that. Pick myself up the BF sword, and that's going to put me at a significant advantage in the lane against Samira, of course. And also, Thresh is now going to back, which kind of desyncs their back timers, because Samira probably is not going to back, most likely. Actually, maybe she will, because the wave is kind of all the way pushed in. So anyways, here we have the wave coming towards us. So we want to kind of try to keep the wave here and not like really push it out, because we don't have any reason to. Samira, as you guys can see on the minimap, is actually on the Krugs. So she didn't back, but she went to farm the Krugs instead. Probably does that really slow, especially at level 4. So she's going to be taking not only some time, but also some damage off of the Krugs. Yep, as we see, she did lose about a third of her health to the Krugs, so probably not the best idea to take Krugs as Samira here. And so here we are stacking a really huge wave. It's more bigger than one whole wave. So here, I'm just taking this time to try to force down the tower to get some plates. Again, I Q through the minions to get the attacks on her. Managed to land a couple attacks on her again, and she is pretty low. But she is level 5, so we gotta be a little bit cautious of that. We also can't see where Katarina is, so we want to be a little bit careful about that. And we also don't know where Diana is, so we really don't have any information about the enemy team, so we don't want to play overly aggressive because they could be lurking in the area nearby. Now we see Katarina is back in the mid lane, but we still don't know where Diana is. So again, we want to be a little bit cautious, don't want to play overly aggressive and get punished for it. Alright, so here we see Diana is actually in the Rivers contesting Skull Crab. We have Parody, so we're going to quickly rotate over to help Pantheon against the Diana. Diana ults, I exhaust her, and Pantheon kills her so fast that I thought that I needed my ultimate to help out, but you know, she got bursted instantly. And we do pick up the Skull Crab. And now we're going to go back to the lane where Samira had a little bit of brief reprieve. Unfortunately, Pantheon ults in and Samira is forced to flash so that she doesn't get stunned outside of the tower range, where we would definitely easily kill her. So good early flash by Samira to prevent herself from dying, and good ult by the Pantheon to threaten the Samira and pretty much just force her flash. Regardless, Soraka kind of gets caught a little bit out of position here, and as a result does get punished by Samira and Thresh, and does end up getting Samira a kill. Samira barely survives the tower, and unfortunately is going to be able to get away with it, so a little bit unlucky there. But here I have completed my Storm Razor and boots already, so I'm going to be pretty strong because we do have that first item Power Spike from the Storm Razor already. So here the Dragon and Herald are of course going to be spawning really soon. Looks like Pantheon is going for the Dragon. I'm pinging for the Dragon and he does say that he's coming. So I think if I remember, I think he's going to out to Dragon or something like that. Here I get a little bit greedy for the tower plates, and I end up taking a lot more damage than what I was expecting. And as a result, I have to you know, pop the flash and escape on out of there right before the dragon fight, which is kind of a really inopportune moment for me. But anyways, we do get out safely, and we do get the fruit as well as the Soraka healing, which brings us back to full health. Right, so here Pantheon is ulting in onto the dragon, so we're just going to quickly start up the dragon and quickly just try to burst the dragon down. We have no idea where Diana is. I'm assuming that she's at the Rift Herald since Katarina just picked up the Rift Herald. I assume it's with the help of the Diana. Thresh comes in and basically suicides. Akshan does finish him off. And here we're trying to get the kill onto the Samira. Now initially, the idea here was to 4-man dive the Samira. So here me and Pantheon are pushing in the minion wave. But unfortunately, Diana and Katarina both come in. I exhaust the Katarina and Katarina gets stunned. Unfortunately though, Diana does manage to pick up the kill onto the Soraka. And Samira does end up dying to the Akshan. So overall, still a positive trade 2 for 1. But not really very clean because the enemies did show up in a very inopportune moment, which is really good on them. Here, I'm gonna quickly just pick up another tower plate, and then we can just back on off. And yeah, here we're really low on mana as well as below half health, so we're just gonna replenish our resources and also pick up some items while we're at it.
Ally slain.
Okay, so now, obviously we're just gonna go straight on back to lane. Hopefully you guys can already start to see why Lucian is really, really strong. You can see we're doing a lot of damage, really mobile, really fun to play champion in general. Now I don't know if he's really fun for people who don't like to play him, but I will never know because I love playing Lucian, so I will never know if people who don't enjoy playing him, you know, actually have fun playing Lucian. Alright, so anyways, here we see a very big overextension by Diana and Katarina in the mid lane, so I'm just going to quickly dash in, pick up 2 free easy kills. Thresh comes in way too late to lantern anybody out. So here we spot Samira just trying to push for tower damage. So here me and Soraka are quickly going to just roam up. Soraka hits the Q onto the Samira for the slow, hits the silence for the root, and basically allows it such that we can burst her down. Here I get hooked by the Thresh, flayed into the tower, but it doesn't really matter because Thresh alone cannot actually kill me, so it is of very little consequence. Here we're going to try to finish off this tower if at all possible. The Storm Razor damage definitely helping, so we do get the tower and we are going to back off because we can see Katarina moving from mid lane up the river, so she is on the roam, so we don't want to chase Thresh down or anything like that. If not, we could be in for a nasty surprise. Alright, so now that we've secured the top lane turret, we're going to rotate over to mid lane. Happens that there is a wave crashing because Katarina did pick up the kill and was able to indeed shove in the wave. Alright, so random control ward in plain sight there. So just like easily just take down that control ward. I can see a majority of the enemies are in the bot lane. Samira is in the top lane, so pretty much only person who can really respond to me here, I think is who's the one out of vision? Teemo. I think it's Teemo that's out of vision and could respond here, but no one really kind of shows up here. I see Teemo finally does respond actually, so we also see the rest of the enemy team roaming up. So here I'm quickly gonna back off, even though I don't quite manage to get the tower. Not gonna greed for it this time. Here Teemo runs straight into the silence. Akshan channels out onto Teemo, but Thresh is gonna be able to block most of the shots there. Here I managed to Q through the minion for damage onto the Teemo. And Diana walks in. Here Katarina walks in, gets pretty much destroyed by me, but lives on 1 HP. Really unlucky there. Here Pantheon goes in, so I'm gonna ult to try to get the kill onto the Teemo. Teemo does die, I believe, to the Pantheon. We get the tower as well. Samira and Diana do manage to both ult. Thresh plays me into the tower again, does stun me, so here I'm just gonna run. I flash out, but unfortunately due to the grievous wounds, Soraka is unable to keep me alive. Soraka herself though is able to zoom out with the movement speed she gets from her passive toward the Akshan. So overall that was still alright. We traded in the end 2 for 2 technically, but we did get the Akshan revive, so we do have more tempo on the map compared to the enemies. Now this allows my team to go for the Rift Herald. Diana tries to face check Rift Herald and does get stunned for her efforts and does get killed after that. So not a good idea from the Diana, considering her team wasn't quite ready to back her up. Now without Diana being around, the enemy team doesn't actually quite have a jungle, but they still decide to try to contest because it's only 2 of my team there. Unfortunately for them, me and Soraka do show up to the party. Teemo does manage to get the steal onto the Rift Herald, however I do manage to get the actually I don't manage to get any kills. Akshan picks up all of the kills actually, so Akshan gets the triple kill there. I instead get 3 assists. However, I do have my stasis completed. I do have my Navori quick blades completed, so I am moving toward the 3-atom power spike here, and I am getting pretty fed. So here the next dragon is up. Diana is the only person alive. I'm gonna ward over the wall. I spot out Diana. I'm gonna get a little bit of damage onto her to kind of dissuade her from hopping in, and it does indeed happen to be that way. Of course, we did have control ward, so she cannot really see what's happening in the pit anyways. So really, it's really going to be a blind steal attempt if she really does go for the steal. Alright, so regardless, we are doing really well. We are really fed. Red buff is up, so we're going to straight away go for the red buff. Akshan with a little bit of help on the heroic swing there. We're going to quickly pick up the red buff and at the same time pick up the Krugs while we're at it. Now here we see Nasus trying to ping to go for the Teemo. I'm like, okay, this isn't such a bad idea. And then I dash in and I realize everybody else is there. I immediately exhaust the Katarina. Pantheon goes in. I'm getting a free ultimate onto everybody. I get the kill on Samira. I get the double onto the Katarina. I'm trying to stasis to survive the Diana. Unfortunately, the moment I come out of stasis, I do get flayed by the Thresh and I do end up dying. Akshan, however, is in for the cleanup. And so is the Nasus. Now, Akshan does manage to hit the revive, and I am revived just due to the Akshan kill. So Akshan revived, coming in very, very handy this particular game. He normally comes in for the cleanup, and as a result, he normally does end up getting us revived. So can't complain too much about that. And I'm almost to the Slurry Charge Blade already. Both components have been completed. All I need now is the actual item itself. So here, me and Akshan trying to get a little bit of tower damage. The whole enemy team is respawning. Katarina doesn't really do too much damage with her ultimate, so we are fine. I'm able to just walk it off. Barely did any damage to me. And here, I believe I do have Solari Charge Blade, so I'm going to recall, pick myself up the Solari Charge Blade. There we go. And now we're at our 3-atom power spike. So at this point, we should be really, really strong. And you can see probably in the next fight how much damage Lucian can do with the triple crit item power spike. So since nothing too much happening on the map now, we're just going to quickly veer off to the side and grab ourselves a juicy wolf camp. And then we can reconvene with our team right here. Alright, so here, Pantheon going for the ult on Teemo. I was thinking of going down to hell, but I realized that there really is no point. There's no way Teemo survives that long anyways. So here we're going to see if we can pick up the Baron. We do get the pick onto Teemo. Soraka is somehow split pushing and is creating a little bit of pressure at the top lane. Katarina is kind of hovering towards top. Diana does suss out the Baron though, but we do it really quickly because of how much damage me and Akshan do. We do disable the ward and we are able to pick up the free Baron. So unfortunately, they are all going for the Soraka, or going for the mid lane push at the minimum. I'm going to quickly back and pick up some items and quickly go back to the middle lane. Now Soraka does end up getting caught out though, pretty much just sandwiched by the entire enemy team, but Samira does go in really deep, so I am able to get the kill onto the Samira. And here I'm trying to get the kill on Katarina. Katarina lives on 1 HP. Diana is really low as well. Pantheon goes in. I do get the double onto the Thresh, and I believe Pantheon should be able to get the Diana. There we go. We do get the Diana, and only the 1 HP Katarina as well as a Teemo is left alive. So here, we're just going to use our Baron buff as well as the help of Nasus especially to just straight up just push down mid. So this should be a free mid inhibitor for us. Katarina and Teemo can't really do too much to defend here. So we do pick up the mid lane inhibitor for free. And we're even just going to get a little bit of damage onto the base. Now here, we were actually trying to force the end here. Here I'm bursting down Katarina. I'm bursting down pretty much wherever comes. The Samira coming. I'm just gonna burst her down. Here, Nasus actually tanks up a lot. And I was trying to end the game here, but I realized that I do no damage to the Nexus because the minions are not around anymore. So here I'm just trying to ult backwards to try to deal damage. Diana comes in, I do exhaust her, and she misses her ult completely. Because of that, I get to Soraka, get myself the healing, and I'm back up to a very healthy state, nearly full health actually. So Lucian has pretty huge mana problems, so we're gonna try to pick up this blue buff if we can, and there we go, we do get the blue buff. And we're just gonna rotate over to the bot lane to clear the enemy's Rift Herald. Yep, so there we go. Rift Herald slain, and now we're just going to quickly back, still with a Baron buff and Powered Recall, and we're going to pick up the Serelda's Grudge. So next dragon is coming up in 20 seconds. This gives me barely enough time to hit on over to the red buff and quickly pick up that red buff for myself. Gives me the double buffs of course. Now look at the insane damage here. Of course, looking at damage on red buff isn't really anything very impressive, but we're going to see how much damage we can do in the next fight. So here we're going to go straight onto the dragon. This is going to be triple dragon for us if we can get it. Diana is on the other side of the map at her blue buff at the moment, so pretty much it's free. So we do pick up that free dragon, and we're just going to push lanes now. We're in a really dominant spot at this point in the game. We are 10k gold up on the enemy team, so we are in a very strong spot. So here I'm just going to quickly just push in mid lane to create pressure in the mid lane with the super minions. And here I'm going to try to help out my team, who looks like they want to go into a fight with the enemies. Nasus is at bot split pushing. He does have the hull breaker, so we can't just leave him to do that. Now unfortunately for him though, the whole enemy team is going to the bot lane to stop him. So my team starts rotating to the bot lane. Pantheon ults in and goes in for the stun. Here I'm dashing in, trying to burst down whoever I can, that being the Samira. And then I'm gonna get my ult on and use the ult to kill both people. Of course, with the Serelda's Grudge, really difficult to escape Lucian's ultimate, so really they couldn't really do too much there. And because of that, only Teemo and Katarina are left alive again. Sorry, I mean only Katarina is left alive now, and because of that, we can easily end the game. So hopefully you guys can see how Lucian is one of the best, if not the best ADCs at the moment. And I'll leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.